Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where it was pointed out to me that there are actually two technologies that we didn't get. These are not mutually exclusive. So we can grab Infrastructure Destruction, and we may as well grab it a little faster. No real point not to, I guess. These are mutually exclusive here. But this one is not. Fantastic. So we'll grab that. So thanks for letting me know about that. I had not realized that. But we are currently working on pushing up through North America. We're making good progress on that too. I'm a little bit concerned about how wide this front is looking like it's going to be. So in the meantime, we are moving up this army group as well. However, let's just see how we proceed here. Chickasaw is taking very, very big hits right now. However, we are well past our offensive line. And I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, maybe it's okay. We are working on a fair amount of infrastructure, and there's only so much more infrastructure that we can build right now. So that is completely fine. Logistically, we are doing moderately okay. It's not fantastic, but it's not literally the worst either. So I think overall, that is okay. We're going to be pushing up into Arizona here pretty soon, but we're still working on Texas. And we are slowly working on pushing them out of Mexico. Very slowly. Apparently we have a unit retreating here. Awkward. There we go. There's our first province in Arizona. Actually, technically that's New Mexico. That's New Mexico there. We're going to be popping up into Arizona relatively soon too, though. Excellent. And they can't keep up this level of defense. They just don't have the manpower or production to do it. Unfortunately, our supplies are going to be stretched a little bit thin here. I'm definitely wanting to grab the Baja over here, but it's going to be interesting trying to do. We've not gained access to any additional states yet, and it looks like we won't for a little while. We have this unassigned division, and we're definitely going to assign that to a new army, and we're going to put that army into this army group. Excellent. And we may end up... I need to really think about how I want this front to proceed. This is going to be an exceptionally wide front. Like, ludicrously wide. This division is also unassigned. We'll pop him in over here, and we should definitely put in a commander over here, too. That guy will do. Excellent. And we can definitely see that our progress is slowing down a little bit over here. I mean, this guy is currently on balanced execution, so that's to some degree to be expected, of course. But hey, we're pushing in over here. I do like to see that. What is this? Maybe that was like a factory being bombed or something? Probably. At any rate, we should check to see if there's any more infrastructure we can build. No, there is not. Absolutely fine. I mean, I do want Chickasaw pretty dead, right? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to redo this setup here. I'm going to delete this line. In fact, I'm going to delete all orders from this army group. This army group is then going to get a front line right up here. Like that. And then they're going to get an offensive line that's honestly probably the border with Ojibwa. Like, this is going to be quite an offensive line, right? But something kind of along the lines of that. Kind of. Kind of along the lines of that. And then go ahead and execute that. And in the meantime, these guys, I want them to also be currently on this front line. I'm going to remove all of their orders. And I'm going to tell them to frontline this as we are currently. Like, come on in here. Can I not frontline this? Oh, are we on offensive line? Yeah, we were. Please frontline right here. Excellent. And then I kind of want their front line, like their offensive line, to be this over here. And then essentially just like over to the sea. Kind of like that-ish, approximately. And we'll tell him to execute in a balanced manner as well. Okay, so essentially the goal here is to crush Chickasaw and get them to capitulate, right? That's the idea behind this. But I also want to have our ridiculously wide front be a little bit split up. That's the hope. I mean, ultimately we're going to have different front lines, right? But that's okay. This is going to be a ludicrous front. But if we can crush this, then North America definitely falls, and quite soon. Then we'll probably invade the Caribbean. I do see that Chickasaw controls Cuba. But yeah, we'll probably invade the Caribbean, clean up some of these islands over here that we kind of skipped, start working on Oceania. And then after all that's crushed, then we'll go after Ming. Ming has, of course, I'm sure, been stockpiling this whole time. So it's going to be kind of complicated to go after Ming. But that's okay. We've got some time before that's a thing. Want to check in on our logistics situation. Logistics other than Texas are looking good. Logistics in Texas, not so good. Noted. As we continue to push up through Texas, it shouldn't be that big of a deal, though. I'm interested in seeing what this front looks like. Okay, this does grab the Baja. Perfect. This one actually does as well. And just kind of fills it in like this. Yeah, that's insane. That essentially grabs the entirety of the continent. I like it. That's pretty much the goal right there, honestly. Yeah. I like it. And then what's the full extent of this one? Relatively minor in comparison. Okay, fair enough. Now we're currently a little bit bogged down in Texas, it looks like, although we're just redistributing troops right now, more than anything. Right? Right, that's what's happening. And then the attacks will resume soon enough. And indeed they are. That's perfect. This tank division can come on over. We have quite a lot of territory at this point. 3 full continents, like 3.5 if you count our Asian holdings. Maybe not quite half. Depends on whether you count Free India as part of us or not. Regardless, this is going exceptionally well at this point. I expected nothing less, of course. We started in a ridiculous position. We're doing additional mine sweeping over here, which is completely fine. And actually, I do want to bump these guys back up to aggressive. They can't hold us back if we just throw ourselves at the enemy with just like a ludicrous amount of troops. Our main strategy is throw people at them until they don't have any people to resist. I like it. Are we currently working on war propaganda? No, we are not. We'll work on war propaganda against Ojibwa. And we will also... Is there anything else in here we really want to do? Not particularly. I mean, I would love to annex America, but we have to liberate them first. Which, of course, is up here. And is a ways away for us. We've made it onto the Baja, though, and we're working on filling that in. And in fact, it looks like they have no one there. So that's just going to get grabbed super quickly. That's wonderful. I want to check in on Chickasaw's current manpower. They're down to 100k. That's half of last time we checked. Ojibwa? They are doing better. They're doing better. But they're also not taking the brunt of this. You have to remember, Chickasaw isn't just losing troops, they're also losing land. And that land generates manpower. So every piece of land that Chickasaw loses makes their manpower situation that much more precarious. Also precarious, my microphone position. Excellent. There we go. It seems to be better now. That's great. Now it looks like we're kind of ignoring this area over here. I'm not a huge fan of that. I mean, honestly, I'd kind of like to tell these guys, why don't you just cruise on down over here like that? And then once you're done with that, then you can come back to the front. We're not going to miss this single infantry division going and grabbing that territory. So that's great. It looks like we are now at the border of Oklahoma. We've just about got Texas under our control. That is going very well indeed. We have an unassigned division. We will send that on over. We have an operative that we can recruit. Might as well recruit this one. And you are currently defending against subversive attacks. I'm okay with that, ultimately. Wonderful. Another paratrooper division. We'll plop them into our paratrooper force that we're not really using. Maybe we'll toss them to the front at some point. But now is not that point. We're definitely stalled out over here, and that's largely because of the supply situation in Texas. Did we just fall back over here? I believe we did. I mean, that's not the end of the world. It happens. Sometimes we just can't sustain our push. Overall, this is looking pretty decent. These guys are grabbing these last couple of provinces over here. Another unassigned division, and we're just going to toss it on over. It'll arrive eventually. We're now properly in California. So that is wonderful. And our invasion of North America is definitely proceeding nicely. We're losing this attack a little bit, but we're reinforcing it, and ultimately, even if we lose this, that's not the biggest of deals. Yeah, we got it right back. Fantastic. Are we at war with Navajo? Not currently. I'm okay with keeping it that way. For now. Although we may want to start justifying on them. That does take a while. Let's go ahead and get started on a justification. Are we at war with these guys? Nope. Let's justify. Excellent. So we'll get those started, and Navajo will eventually fall. But for now, I'm much more interested in fighting Chickasaw. We've got the Baja under control, and these guys are heading back northward. And overall, we are making big gains here. That is magnificent. Of course, our invasion of the Caribbean is going to be interesting. I'm not entirely sure how we're going to pull that off. For one thing, we should probably attack Aruba. Is that a crossing there? Can we, like, literally walk to Aruba? I'm not sure if we can or not. Regardless, there'll be a lot of island invasions, but I want to take care of the mainland first. These guys are relatively pocketed. I don't know if they have access through Navajo or not. They may or may not. We don't. But it looks like these guys are definitely beleaguered. There's not that much that they can do. Excellent. And we're almost to Louisiana at this point. Going to be pushing into there pretty soon. There's another paratroop division finishing up. Toss that into the paratrooper army. We're questioning the motives of the Navajo. Of course we are. We're at 64% stability right now. That's nice. And 49% war support currently. We're struggling to push into these guys a little bit, which tells me they probably do have a supply route through Navajo. But that's okay. They won't last forever. If they can walk through Navajo, though, we're going to need a front line here. I'm not sure they can. Are they resupplying? There's mass destruction and infrastructure destruction finishing up. That's nice. I don't think they're resupplying, and I don't think they can go through Navajo. So that's good to know. We are, of course, progressing across Chickasaw America, and there's only so much that they can do at this point. Chickasaw is currently down to 84,000 manpower. Ojibwa is down to about the same 11 to 12. I mean, they're not really taking the brunt of this right now, although they are contributing to the defense of Chickasaw. To be fair, though, this is a defensive war for us. I just want to point that out. This is a defensive war. Brazil declared war on us. So technically, this is self-defense. All of this is self-defense. This up here wasn't self-defense. This was offensive. This was self-defense. This was self-defense. I like it. It's almost like they shouldn't have declared that war or something. I know, that's shocking. But they probably shouldn't have. Yeah, this is going absolutely swimmingly. We can probably create additional free military factories. Oh my. Do we need to create anything, though? Let's check our logistics. We're losing a little bit of artillery, but we have so much stockpiled. I think we're fine. Like, I suppose we could toss an additional 10 military factories at advanced artillery. And we should also definitely work on New Mexico's infrastructure, as well as this little bit of California's infrastructure. That is something that we should do. Chickasaw W14_ADJ has capitulated. Perfect. I always like those nation titles. Very exciting. They are, of course, a subsidiary of Chickasaw. A dominion, I think, technically is the term. This is a little awkward over here, to be sure. We've almost got the capital of Arizona, though. Phoenix has almost fallen here, and indeed, there it goes. In theory, that means that we can construct infrastructure there. However, the infrastructure is already maxed. Wonderful. They're continuing to pile to the front. And some of these attacks we're struggling with. But overall, I think it's okay. Logistically, Texas is definitely... Oh, Texas and New Mexico are part of the same supply zone. That's a little bit awkward for us right now. And that's part of the reason why we're a little bit stalled out. They just nuked back here. But I don't think it's relevant. Like, I honestly don't. We'll get that repaired super quickly. Like, no worries. They can nuke that if they want. Like, have fun. These guys are probably wanting to move up over here now. There we go. And in regard to our air superiority, it bears noting that most of our air units are assigned to a particular army. So we just attach like that. And then they move with us. So we don't really have to worry too much about it. That's the way the close air support was anyway. The air superiority, not so much. It was not exactly that way. But excellent. We are slowly grinding our way across Chickasaw. I'm reasonably content with this. We have some free civilian factories right now. Not that that's that big of a concern, ultimately. We're just trying to build ourselves some infrastructure for right now, particularly in Texas and New Mexico is the important bits. And our Infrastructure is coming up here. Once we have Texas fully under our control, things will definitely change. New Mexico is also in that basket, which is a little bit annoying, but that'll be fine. Excellent. We're making some fantastic progress here. Chickasaw is currently down to 76,000 available manpower, and Ojibwa is at about that same 10 to 12 million, although their number is slowly coming down. So that bears noting. Just wondering if this takes Florida. It does. Excellent. Quite pleased with that. To the point where I'm actually going to delete this order, and I'm going to give these guys a new offensive line. And it's honestly just going to be something like that. Let's see what that does. That stays pretty south there. But it fills in nicely over there. Yeah, I don't hate this. Do it. Wonderful. Okay, so they definitely have some pretty big numbers over here. There's no doubt about that. We are increasing our numbers slowly, although we are losing a few divisions here and there, I'm noticing. I expected this to happen, of course. That's not a surprise. And we can assign the European defense actually over into the South American theater here. And at this point, I'm going to bump these guys. I'm actually going to completely get rid of them. These are not particularly good divisions, right? But I'm still going to filter them in temporarily. Some of them are good divisions, but not all of them. So I'm going to filter them in over here. They're not really necessary where they're at. In fact, I'm just going to move all of them into this army. Excellent. And in theory, these guys will make their way on in. There we go. We are currently at 24 out of 30 in this army. Noted. We do have these troops in the Middle Eastern theater that I don't think are necessary there anymore. I'm going to move them over here. And we're going to put them into this, and we are going to assign them to this order. Excellent. So in theory, in they come. Yep, they're on their way. Good. We'll have additional reinforcements on the way soon. As I said, this is an exceptionally wide front. We do need to work on constructing more in New Mexico in terms of logistics. And that's definitely something we're working on. But overall, I'm quite pleased with how this push is working. It's going very well indeed. We're losing a little bit here and there, but I don't care. Ultimately, as long as we're attacking them, not really being attacked, and we're winning the attacks, like this attack over here, but that's probably something that we just took, realistically. As long as we're winning most of these offensive attacks, or winning all of the defensive attacks is the ideal, right? Winning most of the offensive attacks is good, but I don't actually care about winning the offensive attacks right now, as long as they get eventually won. That's the important thing. You can see the border here is shifting quite a bit, but Texas is nearly fully encapsulated by our front line now. And that's wonderful. I'm very, very happy about that. It is, however, about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. In next episode, we are going to continue pushing up through Chickasaw. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I will see you all next time.